the question here is not about book banning. It's about when and how sexually explicit content is appropriate in a public school setting, right? So that's first. We should be able to agree on that, right? Because that's what this is. We're not talking about, somebody mentioned the book, The Color Purple. It was one of the few books I actually read in school, at least a couple of chapters. And I remember it. And it was, at that time, extremely, as someone mentioned, it was inspiring, it was impactful. Enough that when they mentioned it, I remembered some of the quotes from that book, right? But this is what we're talking about now. This is not The Color Purple. This, out of context, this is basically, these are images from the book that was one of the books that's pulled. Hold on, sir.
Is it required?
Hold on, sir.
Is it?
So here's the issue is this. Hold on, everyone, please. Okay. So I went through the law, okay, and myself, and one of the things that they talk about is statute 847.012, which is basically the description of pornography. Okay. So if we're going and what they use in the case, they talk about obscenity. And pornography is one of the instances argued in the case, okay? So this is not The Color Purple. This is not the high watermark of literature that we're trying to take away from our kids. That's not what this is. Let's be honest about what the situation is, okay? And this is not going to teach anybody. This is not what somebody's going to remember, when they're 47 years old saying, oh, I remember this quote, okay, from The Color Purple. This is just pornography in our schools. That's what this is, number one. Okay? Here's the thing. Okay? I want to take...
Guys, if
on,
we
sir.
can
Hold on,
please
please.
let the board
Hold
members
on.
speak. Thank you.
I want to acknowledge the fact that the concerns, okay, that some of the people in the audience have is legitimate, okay? But we're not, in the end, in order for, as a community, to come together and be able to agree on what we should have in our schools, we have to be honest about these definitions, okay? Are we going to allow any book under any, whether it has pornography or it's obscene or whatever, go to any child, right? We have to start somewhere, okay? And in the end, okay, you have to be 18 to buy cigarettes. You have to be 18 to buy pornography. But if you go to a public school right now, you can pick up pornography without showing an ID, okay? And without showing any identification, without showing any reason, without having permission from your parents. And in the end, someone said, let the teachers decide. First of all, the teachers don't want to decide for your kids this stuff. The teachers want to teach. The teachers don't want to be parents to your kids, okay? It's our job as parents to decide what our kids are going to be exposed to. If you as a parent decide for yourself that you're going to hand that responsibility to the education system, it's not going to work out well for your child. I can tell you right now, because this district, just for example, this district doesn't do a great job of taking care of your kids right now as it is in other aspects, not just pornography. Okay? We have kids coming here and they have abuses. Like the attorney mentioned earlier, right? That these kids came and that their allegations may not be founded and whatever. The problem is, as a district, when you're not doing a good job in taking these processes and resolving these issues, you're going to have kids that come here and complain about sexual assault after the fact, whether the allegation is true or not, right? So what we're doing is we're exposing your kids to an unnecessary danger. And there's a big difference. I don't want you guys to get confused. If you have a cell phone, okay, what your child looks on his cell phone that you provide him is between you and your child. It is not about the school. But what we provide to you, paid with public tax dollars, should be of a different concern, and we should be protecting our kids. And pornography is not protecting your kids, okay? So this is not about a political issue. This is about literally not private. And what age? Because I think that we may have even had this in middle school.
Obviously a difficult, topic to deal with because people are very passionate on each side of it.
And I like to be able to look at things rationally and logically. Like I said, at the last board meeting, I actually read the Supreme Court case. Now, I wasn't sure that, the technicality of it not being binding and things of that nature, so I'm still kind of processing that. I was the one that advocated as well for standards-based. We talked about the process going to either the school and then possibly the district, and then appeal to the school board. But the issue is, what standards are the body using to make sure what is appropriate and not appropriate? And I think that is something that I requested at the last board meeting to say, and I think I mean this in good conscience. Some people are saying, well, it's only pornography for a little bit, not for a lot. Well, how much is enough before it crosses that barrier? So I think that let's have an honest discussion about what that standard is, regardless if it's the school board reviewing it, or if it's the school reviewing it, or the district reviewing it. I think the proper discussion to have as a board is writing out what is that policy of standards. And there needs to possibly be 3 different standards, one for elementary schools, one for middle schools, and one for high schools. Because I believe that if we come to an agreement that what is appropriate for high school may not be appropriate for elementary school. So that's where I'm kind of being conflicted a little bit, because the other thing too is the medium, and I mean this in all honesty, with the bottom of my heart, and I'm trying to offend anybody, but does it matter if it's in a book or somewhere else? And somebody mentioned that. If we showed a video and played it, then people would say, well, that's not good. So if it's in a book, is that okay? So does the medium in which it's presented change the standard? So, and again, I'm not trying to play rhetorical. I'm not trying to pick sides. People that know me, I'm the least side guy there is. You don't even know where I'm at. I don't even know where I'm at, because I just follow my heart. I don't follow policy or things like that. So that is a legitimate question, I believe, to ask. Does the medium matter? So does the standard change based on the medium, or does standard change based on the grade level of the students?
One thing I think that all of us in this room can agree on is we care about our kids. We may disagree on how it's being accomplished, but I think the reason we're all here tonight is we care about our kids. At the last meeting, when excerpts from the books were being read, that was the very first time ever I had even heard of these books.
That's untrue. That's untrue.
The first time that I heard these excerpts was the first time I had heard of the.
I read it at the meeting prior.
Mr.
Never mind. Never
Mr.
mind.
Bass,
No,
Mr.
I have
Bass,
nothing
you
to
have
say.
the floor.
Immediately after the meeting, the following day, I wanted to find out what the process was. I didn't go to Dr. Pace. I went straight to the head of media specialist to find out, okay, let me get a better idea of how this what's the procedure to take a book out. I have grandkids in this district. I wouldn't want them to be reading some of these or have it read to them. So I asked, what is the procedure? It's a 2-page form, 6 questions. You fill it out, and it deals with books, DVDs, CDs, periodicals, software, sound recordings, film, video, pamphlets. I can read really quick. What is the material you object? What do you believe is the theme or the purpose of the material? What do you feel might be the result of a student using this material? For what age group would you recommend the material? Do you feel that there's anything positive in the material? Is there another school library material with the same subject that you would recommend? It's turned in, and within 24 hours, that book is removed. It is removed until the investigative process takes place. So today, before this meeting, I called and I said, well, I'm just curious, how many of the books that had been read has anybody filled out? And there was not one. Nobody had filled out the paperwork with those books. So that kind of bothered me a little bit, because I know we pulled them, but there should be a responsibility for all of us to do that. So we truly all have to work together with this, and I think we are moving in the right direction. There are books that are going to fall between the cracks. I'm sure of it. Our media specialist, my sister-in-law is a media specialist here in the county. She's at an elementary. And I challenge anybody to find a more fair and kind and caring person than this person. They receive probably safe to say 500 books a year, maybe 500 books a year. These books come from peer-reviewed resources. I don't think that there's a media specialist has the time to read the entire cover-to-cover 500 books. So that's why it's up to us, when I say us, not just on this board, all of you too. If you see something that is objectionable, fill out these 6 questions, turn it in. A book is removed within 24 hours, and then let the process follow itself.
All right, so I guess for me, the biggest challenge that I've had with this entire process is that I don't think that we as a board understand the process strong enough. And I've asked to have a workshop where we can have these discussions specifically to discuss what is appropriate, what is considered whatever, X, Y, or Z, and we haven't done that. And it's becoming more and more apparent that we're going to have to make decisions, and I don't think we're equipped to make those decisions without being more educated. Last meeting, or maybe 2 meetings ago, I think I made the same mention, and it was, taken as if I don't know what I'm talking about. I think that becoming an expert in something that I am going to make a decision about for other parents requires that I take pause and that I do learn a little bit more about not just our process, but also what we would like the process to look like going forward. So I'm going to request again that we consider having a workshop where we can have these very specific discussions that we're having at a board meeting, where it's not on the agenda, which means that we're not going to make decisions, and we keep going round and round, having the same discussion without actually moving forward in our understanding. Again, that's what I would like to see. I'm not sure if other board members would like to see it, but I really do not think that we are equipped to start changing processes or changing the bar without actually understanding what the process is now, and as a board deciding what the next phase of that looks like.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not just about the process specifically. There are some additional questions that have been raised with public input, specifically age categories, what we're considering to be pornography or not, context. These are the questions that I'm interested in. It's not just our current policy. These are questions that the public wants to know, and I don't think that having this conversation in this setting is helpful. It hasn't been.
I agree.
Yeah, I just want to disagree that this is not helpful. This is involving the community. Both sides of this issue is exactly helpful because this is what we're representing. So to not have their opinion here and to not have these discussions in public, I mean, would be...
Workshops are public.
Okay,
They're not closed.
can I got it. These people are not going to come in the morning on a Thursday when they're at work to come discuss this. This is the meeting where they're invited to come and speak and to participate in a public dialogue, which is important to this 100 people that are in this room, right? So the more that we continue the dialogue with the community, the more I think that you know what you need to do, aside with following the law, which is pretty clear. So that's all.
Okay, thank you.